Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sedona International Film Festival. I'm your host, Carol Kahn. We are celebrating our 30th anniversary, and with that, we'd like to thank our presenting sponsor, Northern Arizona Healthcare, along with our restaurateurs, hoteliers, and volunteers who year after year support our festival. We're so appreciative of you, so thank you so much. And like Patrick Schweiss has said before, this is a filmmakers film festival, and I'd like to introduce to you Keith. And Keith, I'd like you to introduce your film.
My film is called Mayfly. It's a short film starring Warren Cole and Katrina Law.
Awesome, awesome. And where are you from?
I'm originally from Oklahoma, but I've been in LA since '98. So I think after 10 years, they say you're officially a local because you know all the shortcuts and traffic.
Right, right. Well, that's what they say about Sedona. If
Same.
you're here after 3 years, you're a local.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
And I've been here 8, so I
Okay,
guess I
you're
could
a
stay.
local.
Yes, yeah. So first time in Sedona.
No, I've been to Sedona many times. I have a brother, and my mom lives in Scottsdale.
Okay.
So I've been all over Arizona many times, and I do a lot of photography, and I've shot things out here, so I've been all over. But I haven't been back to Sedona in almost 10 years because I've been kind of hitting everything else. And I was amazed at how much it's changed and like developed and grown in that time. It's
That's
been
so funny because I don't. I'm like, where did it develop?
well, because you've been seeing it happen.
Yes.
The
That's
crystal
true.
shops now are like in jewelry stores. It's amazing.
Yes. Okay. There you go. It's sort of expanding that way.
Yeah.
Well, it's so good to have you here.
It's great to be here.
Thanks. So, talk to us a little bit about your film.
So, Mayfly is a story about a very successful self-help guru who, after a long day of book signings and public appearances and sort of TED Talks and that sorts of thing, comes home, goes to sleep, wakes up in the middle of the night to find a mysterious woman sitting at the foot of his bed holding a gun to him. And she forces him to address something from his past that he thought was long in the rearview mirror. And so it's a drama. It's a pretty heavy drama, but it has a lot of elements of suspense thriller to it.
Yes, it kept me on the my seat watching it.
Well, good. That's what I was hoping to do.
Well, I was trying to figure out, like, you sit there and you figure out, is that like really happening? Is that his imagination? Like,
Yeah, there's a lot of head games going on, and when you watch it, you understand why. But also, just as a director and storyteller, ultimately, when you get down to the script and you get down to the story, it's two people in a room, right? And two people in a room is boring. You have to find ways to make it interesting. You have to find ways to engage it, and so the story, the way it's told on screen, we bounce around to a lot of places so that we're not just in the room, and we're getting out of the room, and we're going into the memories. And in doing so, that keeps it more dynamic, keeps it more interesting, at least I hope so. And so that's kind of part of it. And then the suspense aspect to it and the thriller aspect to it as well hopefully keeps the audience engaged and intrigued and wanting to know more.
absolutely. So we do have a trailer.
Yep.
So let's take a look at that, and then we'll talk some more.
All right, great.
People say past is prologue, past is prologue, and yeah, there's some poetry to that. But you cannot move forward if you're always looking back.
If you really want to survive, why do you have a loaded gun in your bedside table? I can't tell you how much this means to me. Your book changed my life.
Life is too short for regrets. It's too short. Life really can be as easy as an on-off switch. You have that power. Live or die. Move forward, stay put. Take control or surrender. You are not welcome here.
Well, then take charge. Forge your own future. Control your fate. Did I strike a chord?
Both our lives were destroyed.
No. Mine was.
Past is back there. Past is ashes. The future is yours.
I think you skipped a step in your book. You forgot to tell the truth. So what is it?
Well,
Thanks.
it was very, very good.
Thank
You
you.
know, the interesting thing too, like when you have like a self-help motivational speaker, right?
Hmm.
You feel like that their life is always together, like they have the answers to everything.
Right.
And then, you know, when you see something like this, it makes you really think like, oh, they don't have the answers to everything. You don't even know what their life is like, you know,
Right.
you just see what's on stage.
Well, that's that's a dynamic of the time that we're living in, I think, in so many ways, because it's not just, I don't want this to be an attack on self-help, because there's wonderful things that come from self-help, but we do live in a time where we are seeing a lot of people who are in positions of authority who are being sort of exposed as frauds. And normally over time you might see one or two here or there, but it seems to be every other day someone new is having some scandal come out of their past, and you go, but you're supposed to be a Catholic priest, or you're supposed to be a minister, or you're supposed to be a soccer coach, or you're supposed to be, a self-help guru, and then all of a sudden these things come out, and it sort of shakes your foundation. And I think that a lot of, my own personal view on these things is that everybody has to take a step back, take a breath, and make their own decisions. And you can't just take what you're spoon-fed from any one source or any one person of authority. And so, one of the characters who comes up to him in the bookstore, clearly she's still very broken, but she says to him, "You changed my life and basically fixed me." And anyone in the audience watching it can look at her and be like, "You're not fixed, you're horribly damaged. And this one person, they can't fix you, have to fix you." And so I think that's what it comes down to, is the lesson that goes to his character is, you haven't fixed yourself. You haven't taken the time to actually put in the work and heal in the correct way. And you've shuffled everything off to the side and tried to put on this beautiful facade in front that shows you're successful and you've got it together, but you don't. And you can only build so high on a weak foundation before the whole thing topples over. And this film is about the moment when it topples over.
Right. So where did the inspiration come from for you?
Well, the inspiration came. So Katrina came into my office with a script that she had, and kind of an outline that she'd been working on, and she threw it down on my desk. And with the way she tells the story is, she said, "Make it not suck." And so I read it, and it did not suck. It was great, and there was so much good stuff there. But her not being an experienced writer, she didn't know a lot of the structure and kind of the storytelling in that. And so we sat down a lot, and I would ask her questions and really kind of pepper her with, what are you going for, and what did you mean by this character and that character. And then as I wrote it with her and worked on it, then certain aspects you take ownership of, because as a writer you can't just be a mercenary. And so there were little elements that I started really falling in love with. And one of the, she made Warren's character the lead character, but one of the things that I started really exploring with Warren was, my own fears of failing my daughter. And I think that is one of the biggest fears that I have as a dad is what if I somehow am not there for her, or am too weak, or not able to educate her and love her and protect her and be there for her. And I think that you see that in this character, this father. He's a good man and he's a good husband, but he has a moment where he fails her, and you discover that, and you discover exactly what happened.
I think that's really interesting. You know, when I was interviewing Amy Glazer about The Surrogate, she basically said one of the characters was her in the film, right? And so I'm like, get out, But do you find yourself, when you're putting films together, does that personality of yours somehow get melded into the character, or is there definitely a separation, like you were just talking about?
Well, you have to take ownership and love of every character, even the most awful ones. And so I wouldn't say that my personality, God love them, my personality doesn't go into the characters, but I identify with aspects of all the characters. So, there's parts of female characters in my scripts that are very much elements of my personality. There's parts of serial killers in scripts that I've written that are parts of my personality, not the killing part. But,
Thank God.
but so you have to have these parts of yourself, because those are the moments of truth that you have, where like, okay, in these moments I have either done this, or I have been tempted to do this, or I feared I would do this. And whenever you're kind of exploring that sort of multiverse of possibilities that you have in your own head, then it kind of represents itself into the characters, and you really see them develop a life of their own. But to be clear, no matter where it started with Katrina and then where it grew with me, Warren made it his character. I mean, he took it upon himself and really molded that character of Aaron Driscoll into his own character and brought a lot of himself to it.
Well, it was very, very well done. So thank you for bringing the film here. And how can people find out about your film?
Well, we're still finishing up the circuits for all the short films and the independent film festival circuits. We have a couple big ones coming up. We do have another one coming up at Cleveland International in the first week of April. And then I believe it's going to be shortly after that we're going to be going out and looking to see if there are any distribution platforms we can put it onto. But as of right now, until probably midsummer, we kind of have to still keep it under wraps because festivals like to be the only ones who have it when they have it, you know, which is great.
Yeah, just like us.
Yeah, of course. And it's been awesome being here.
Thank you. Thank
course.
you so
Thanks for
much.
having
And
me.
then when is your film being shown?
It's tonight at 7 p.m.
Okay.
at the Harkin Theater.
Harkin Theaters.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, Keith, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for coming to our festival. I know we'll see you again, I'm
Yeah.
sure, right?
I hope so. Invite me back. I'll come eat food.
Well, we're going to definitely see you around the festival. So, so thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right. And please follow us on Facebook Live. And also, if you're out there, hashtag SIFF30. And we will be back with more from the Sedona Film Festival with more interviews and more fun.